This is Jack, and this is Jack surfing Sunset. Pipe just ended, and Sunset starts tomorrow. So this is a last-minute preview and fantasy picks for the Hurley Pro Sunset Beach. Here's the long-range forecast, and you can see a few small days to start before an extra-large swell generates solid surf but drives right through Hawaii, bringing stormy conditions. There's currently talk of the Yeti being held, which would be pretty cool. The end of the waiting period has some promise, but that's a long way away. As always, I post an updated surf report daily on my website at oldsurfdad.com, along with bonus coverage on my Instagram. So all the data, including past results and power rankings, are on my website. The only stat I'm going to share right now is this page. Jack Robinson has a dynasty at Sunset with great QS results and finished the last two WCT events with a quarterfinals finish in 22 and a run to the semis in 2023. But he's not number one in the power rankings. Can you guess who it was? Go check it out. You'll probably be surprised. Okay, picks, and I'm going to make speed picks. If you had a shocker at Pipeline, don't worry, most of us did. It was upsets and carnage. Here's some good news. The Pipe event counts for the least amount of fantasy points for the season because each subsequent event is worth 10% more than the last. You can see the multiplier here. All right, jumping into women's Tier A, we find the women superstars of Pipeline. Now, I'm going against the grain here and putting Betty Lou on my team. She's a North Shore local who's experienced at Sunset, super fiery, and coached by former CT competitor and North Shore resident Ross Williams. She will not be my power surfer. In women's Tier B, 2022 Hurley Pro champion Breeza Hennessy is an easy choice for me, and her surfing just fits this break. She will be my power surfer. Now, let's take a moment and pause and look at Old Surf Dad's ranking. Very average. I'm right 50% of the time and way off the other 50%. You get to decide which is which. By the way, making the right choices at Pipe was fantasy team French Connection, and he wins a $100 gift certificate to my store, carve.surf. Okay, back to Tier B. Tati's backhand and charging mentality could be a threat if it's bigger, and Caroline's goofy foot attack could be solid if it's small to medium-sized. I'm surprised I'm going to pass on Tyler, who looked flat in her pipe heats, losing to Sunset local Luana Silva, who could definitely put a run together here at her home break. In the end, it's Gabriella Bryan's power surfing that I'll choose here. She was number 2 in my power rankings with an equal third in the last two events at Sunset. If you go to the fantasy page, there's a link to the Power Surfer's Instagram account, and you can see their clips. You'll understand why I'm picking Gabriella. It's hard to see Carissa in Tier C, and even worse, the way she went out at Pipeline in small, inconsistent surf. You'll eventually see a wild card there and another one to round out the numbers. For me, it's between Lakey and Isabella, although I did like what I saw from Sawyer Lindblad at Pipe. I'm going Isabella Nichols style over Lakey Peterson, even though Lakey has slightly better stats. In men's Tier A, I could see everyone picking John Florence, but his numbers have only been average in the last two events here. Ethan Ewing is hiding out at the bottom of the list, and he'll be my first pick and power surfer. I love what I'm seeing from Connor O'Leary, and that backhand bash is hard to ignore, as are Jordy and Leo's power surfing. Now, Baron Mamiya is going to attempt back-to-back wins and complete North Shore domination. His momentum and fire are palpable, and the younger generation North Shore community is behind him. Back-to-back is rare, but I'm putting the 2022 Hurley Pro Sunset Beach champion on my team. Would love to see Baron win again. In men's Tier B, I'll start with last year's runner-up, Griffin Colapinto. Next, Jack Robinson's experience and results are hard to pass up, especially in Tier B. Now, I wouldn't normally pick Gabriel Medina at Sunset, but remember, he won at Margaret's last year, which has some similarities, and he has a talent to win at any venue. Plus, I think he's pissed he didn't do well at Pipe. Finally, I'm going rogue with Jake Marshall, who made the quarters in 2022, beating John along the way. When I come to my senses, I may trade him out in reselects for Yago or Liam or Jacob Wilcox, depending on how well they do in the opening round and the dynamic surf forecast. I expect there to be 5 wildcards in Tier C, like show up to Sunset with your big wave board and see if you can get in. There's always 2 wildcards pre-cut, and then there will be wildcards for the following surfers: Kelly, Joao, and Felipe. That's right, Felipe, who is hours away from announcing some time off tour. This has not been confirmed, but by the time this video comes out, it should be official. My fantasy picks will be Kyle Belly, who brings solid North Shore performances and great results to Sunset. I'll also try Cole Houshman again, who's been putting in a lot of time at Sunset and looks powerful. As crazy as this sounds, David Silva's backhand snap could get him some serious points, and Cade Madsen's straight-up charges, so they could be possible reselects. So there's my fantasy picks, which you can see on the website along with ChatGPT picks. You'll also see my foray into placing a few wagers and a tally of the results. It's ugly so far. Congrats to those that survived. Nearly 50% of the entire league is out. Last year, I went out in the very first event picking Kelly Slater at Pipe. This time around, I selected John, and he came through. So continuing with my pick the absolute favorite strategy, my survivor pick is going to be Jack Robinson. I mean, you got to stay alive to get to the end, right? I'll worry about Fiji later. If you're still trying to decide, you can see survival stats for all the CT surfers on the website. Our next event is in Portugal, and I'll have more time for an in-depth look at Super Tubos. Thanks for watching, and best of luck with your fantasy team.